If North Korea continues its dangerous path, we will continue with further pressure. The choice is theirs.
Breaking news, Ambassador to the United Nations Nikki Haley just moments ago. That was after the UN Security Council voted unanimously to impose new sanctions on North Korea. Frank Gaffney has been with us all show. I want to bring in now as well Lieutenant Colonel Michael Waltz, former counterterrorism advisor to Vice President Cheney and a Fox News contributor. Colonel, let me start with you.
Sure.
Ambassador Haley saying that North Korea has not passed the point of no return. I thought that was sort of surprising. There's 6 nuclear tests, the most powerful one yet, the development of intercontinental ballistic missiles. I mean, when the heck do they pass the point of no return?
Well, Charles, first, good to be on with you again. You know, I don't think the administration has fully worked that out yet. You know, when the North Koreans cross that threshold that we're actually going to try to take that program out or take the leadership out. And what Ambassador Haley is signaling is that there's more to be done from a sanctions standpoint, and I would even argue from a diplomatic standpoint as it comes regarding sanctions and economic pressure. But what I take from this vote today, which was watered down, kept in textiles but not necessarily oil and gas, is that the Chinese calculus still hasn't changed. They still see regime collapse and in a unified Korea friendly to the West as worse than this nuclear program. And they still see this as basically a problem for Japan, South Korea, and the United States. And I think until we dial up the pressure enough that we're going to change that Chinese calculus,
right,
we're going to continue to see more of the same.
Frank, I'm reading about the revolutionary fund that's in Swiss bank accounts, perhaps $5 billion. I'm reading about the royal economy that's designed to pump money into the Kim family, perhaps generating over $1 billion a year. He's insulated from any sort of economic sanctions anyway. And we've seen in the past where they've allowed their people, millions of North Koreans, to die on the streets from starvation in this crazy quest for military power. So ultimately, they will cross, it seems to the average person watching this, that point of no return. And when they do, what will the further pressure be?
Well, as our friend John Bolton has pointed out, the concern is, of course, that point of no return is when they've started killing Americans. And I think for many of us, that's an unacceptable proposition. And I agree with Michael. I think that the Chinese calculus, as I said earlier in the program, is continuing to be, it's in their interest, actually, to have the North Koreans threaten us. But, Charles, I would start by taking out the North Korean satellites that are operating as we speak over this earth, including on a regular basis overflying the United States. They are platforms, if so designed and equipped, to unleash an electromagnetic pulse attack against this country that could be absolutely devastating. In fact, nation-ending.
Frank, that would be a provocative act. What they would consider that an act of war, wouldn't they?
They might well, and all we need to do is tell them, listen, anything you put up in space is going to be treated in the same way. If you choose to take this step beyond this, then there will be consequences as well for you. But I think the key point here is this is a perfectly legitimate and I think absolutely necessary defensive measure.
Right.
Bill Clinton's former director of Central Intelligence has warned he thinks those satellites may be ready for an EMP attack against us. We can't afford to have that happen.
Colonel Waltz, a lot of folks, though, a lot of observers are saying what Kim is doing, Kim Jong-un, is actually acting rationally. He is seeing what's happened to the Saddam Husseins of the world and others who didn't possess a nuclear weapon. Is there some rationality here? And if that is the case, why would he ever give the nukes up?
Well, look, I think he's done a great job of dialing up his activity and then dialing it back just before we take military action so that he can buy more time and develop his program. And his program is going to get more and more sophisticated as we try to get these economic and diplomatic sanctions in place. But back to the Chinese calculus, which I think is critical, there are things we can still do. We can reintroduce tactical nukes, as the South Koreans have asked, and we can help the Japanese remilitarize, and that will wake the Chinese up, I think, to see this more of a problem.
Japan junked that post-World War II Constitution and rearmed themselves. Gentlemen, thank you both very much.